Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will keep working with the subsequent event activities. Subsequent event comes after the financial statements date until the financial statements are issued. Assuming a calendar year December 31st financial statement, the interim testing, the fieldwork, test of control, analytical procedures, test of detailed balances occur up to December 31st, from January till December 31st. The financial statements are dated December 31st. Then the financial statements are issued 60 days after year end. This is the period from the financial statements till the financial statements are issued are called the subsequent event periods. In this period, the auditor would collect more information about presentation and disclosure, contingent liabilities, client attorney letters, dual dating of the letter, perform final analytical procedures, going concern issues, would look at the attorney's letter, the firm management representation letter, as well as look at supplementary information and other information provided. So at this step, we have completed the analytical procedures, the going concern, we obtained the management representation letter. We will focus on what do we need to do about supplementary information as well as other information in the annual report. Remember, subsequent event, those procedures occur after testing is complete and proposed adjustments are known. So we are looking at the final numbers. This is important because everything that we look at here is in terms of everything is finalized, does it make any sense? So let's dive into supplementary information and other information. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com. Most students and CPA candidates struggle not because audit is too hard, but because it's taught fast and the logic behind the procedure isn't explained clearly. Then everything feels disconnected. At Farhat Lectures, we break audit down step by step. We explain the why behind the standards, the logic behind the assertions, risks, procedures, evidence, so the whole process finally clicks. When the concepts connect, audit becomes clear and manageable. You stop memorizing and start understanding. Ready for auditing to make sense? Start your free trial at farhatlectures.com. Considering information accompanying the basic financial statements, we have to understand what are the basic financial statements versus information that's in addition to the basic financial statements, which is supplementary information. You have to know that the basic financial statements are, you guessed it, the balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows, statements of changes in equity, and the footnotes. Those are the basic financial statements. Now, the client, the company might present additional schedules or analysis along these. And this information is called SI supplementary information. What would it include? It might include a detailed revenue by region or product line. They don't have to do that, but they will provide it. Schedule of insurance coverage, a detailed depreciation schedule, multi-year trend tables. Now, would they talk about their depreciation in the footnotes? Yes. Are the depreciation appearing in the income statement? Yes. Is accumulated depreciation appearing on the balance sheet? Yes. But they will provide even a more detailed depreciation schedule. This supplementary information is management responsibility. Keep in mind, and it's not automatically part of the audited financial statements. Well, if that's the case, what is our role as auditors? Guess what? When supplementary information is provided, guess what we should do? Read them. Compare them to the actual audited financial statement and look for any material inconsistencies or misstatement. What could be an obvious inconsistency, for example? Could have inconsistent sales figures. The audited financial statements might be showing sales of 5 million. This is the audited number. Now, in the supplementary schedule, they might show total annual sales of 5.6 million with no explanation. Then we have to ask them, hold on a second, this does not make any sense. Is this schedule including any non-GAAP metrics? So you're including revenue that's not revenue that we accounted for in the 5 million? What's going on here? Is the schedule incorrect? We're not auditing this, we're just making sure that it's inconsistent. It cannot be shown in that manner unless there is an explanation for it. If it's inconsistent or misleading,
we must request correction or clarification, because we should not be allowing that the financial statements, the audited numbers are 5 million, and you're saying our total revenue is 5.6 in the supplementary. Now, sometime what could happen, the client might ask the auditor, engage the auditor to perform an audit specifically on the supplementary information. That becomes a separate engagement. Under those circumstances, we will add a separate paragraph in the audit report, or we might issue a report separately, and we'll talk about this for the CPA exam when we're reporting on supplementary information, what the report would look like, but it'll give you an idea. We would state that the audit was conducted to form an opinion on the financial statement as a whole, and the SI is presented for additional analysis. It's the responsibility of the management, and it's subject to certain audit procedures. If the auditor's opinion, in the auditor's opinion, would say that it's fairly stated. We would make sure it's fairly stated in relation to the financial statement as a whole. Once again, you have to know as a CPA exam candidate the report for the SI, but we have its own separate lesson. And here we're just talking about this topic in general. Okay, so if the SI is materially misstated and management does not correct it, then we might have to modify the report. So this is about SI. How about if we have something called other information in the annual report? What counts as other information? Well, think about the annual report, the 10K. If you're not familiar with it, as an accounting student, as a CPA candidate, you should open one for your favorite company and look at it. It will include the audited financial statements and notes, the basic financial statement. It would also include MD&A, management discussion and analysis. It would include the CEO or chairman letter to the shareholder, that's usually at the beginning. It will include a marketing narrative and highlights, 5-year summary of selected financial data. Most of this other information is except the audited financial statement, everything else is typically not audited directly, but it's published with the financial statements in the annual report. What is our role as auditors? You guessed it. What should we do first? Read this information. What for? Identify any material inconsistencies with it. Identify any misstatements of fact. Our goal as auditors is to make sure that other information does not undermine or contradict the audited financial statements. What could be a misleading statement? For example, the earnings per share, the audited EPS is $1.10. This is the basic EPS. The CEO letter highlight an earnings per share of $1.50 with no explanation. How is that possible? Now we're going to ask them, is this a non-GAAP figure, the 1.5? Because the GAAP, the audited, the adjustment is $1.10. Is it calculated consistently and disclosed correctly? Are we all on the same page? Because, as far as we know, as the auditor, EPS should be $1.10. Or is this figure misleading? We should ask them to revise the letter. They cannot publish this letter, revise the letter. Also, another example would be they might claim that they are enjoying a record profit, while in reality they're incurring a loss. The annual report cover might read records profit, the best year ever. And in reality, if you open it, it's a loss. This is clearly inconsistent with the actual numbers. So the auditor must discuss with management and those charged with governance what's going on. Why are we saying there's record profits here? Request removal or correction of any misleading phrases. And if management reviews, we might have to add an explanatory paragraph describing the inconsistency. Usually they will agree. Or worst, we would withdraw from the engagement if they would refuse to do that. If they're incurring a loss and they're having a title records profit, well, something is not wrong. Something is wrong with management. So how does this step connect to the audit opinion? By the time we're done with reviewing the supplementary information, other information, basically we have completed all the field work. We're ready to finalize everything. We performed the analytical procedures, evaluated the going concern, obtained the management rep letter, and consider the SI and the other information. At this point, we have the full picture to support the audit opinion, because we want to have a complete picture, and the complete picture would include all the field work, final analytical procedures, evaluating the going concern, subsequent event, everything that we learned up to this point. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Companies include the CEO's letter to shareholders and its annual report, which is very typical, alongside the audited financial statement. This information is considered what? Is it supplementary information? Is it other information? Is it required supplementary information, RSI? Or is it part of the annual audited financial statement? Now, basically what you need to know is what's supplementary, what's other information, what's RSI. But here's what, let's go through them step by step. Is it supplementary information? Supplementary information, usually it's numerical. Different schedules, usually supplementary information. This is the letter. Therefore, we can kind of take out A. Is it B? Other information with letter to shareholder as other? Yes. Narrative items like the CEO letter, marketing material, any non-GAAP figures, but they have to be clearly non-GAAP. This is other information. So between A and B, I'm going to keep B. C, required supplementary information. That's something you need to be aware of. MD&A, pension schedule, those might be required supplementary information, but not the CEO letter to the shareholders. It's part of the audited financial statements? No, it's not part of the audited financial statements. The financial statements are the balance sheet, the income statement, the accompanying notes, the statements of cash flow. It's not part of the audit financial statement. Now, what you can do on Farhat Lectures, before you answer this question, you can ask AI to explain the topic. And it will explain to you, for example, the CEO letter. It will tell you what's supplementary information, what's other information. And if you don't like the answer choices the way they are presented, you can ask AI to explain it in a different way. And if you like the question, you could ask AI to ask you another question about these topics, supplementary information versus other information. What should you do? Invest in yourself. Go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional lectures, multiple choice, podcast lessons, AI tools, AI resources to help you in your audit class as well as CPA exam preparation. The best investment is investing in yourself. Good luck and God bless.